You know, man, it really, there comes a point in time in which you have to, why am I sounding like Darth Vader? In which you have to really give up and finally move on to a bigger shores. And as the thumbnail of the video correctly and exactly says it, it means that when those friendships or anything that has been blocking you for you to move on forward, or at least to do something, you know, differently than you have been doing in the past couple of months or years, it's kind of it's time. You know, there are some, I spoke about it in my past previous episodes or seasons, in which you have to stop at some point in life if you are, you know, kind of sick and tired of just you having the initiation. So, but not in any Illuminati bullshit. I'm talking about one-sided friendships in which you're always the one who initiates with the conversation. It's always from your standpoint, it's always from your perception and perspective. It's always you pulling somebody by their sleeves, or sleeve, sorry. And then you kind of develop that into a pattern, and you have to give it a rest, you have to give it a go. And the best thing you can do currently, as I'm filming this video, distance yourself from those one-sided friendships, because they don't do you any favors in the first place. Now, I spoke about in previous seasons in which there is like those beneficial, not friends with benefits, not fuck buddies. I'm talking about like two sides, person A and B are agreeing amongst themselves, in which they're going to use each other for your for benefits only, like interest and going out in the public and making brand and trending and whatever the fuck. But the one-sided friendships and relationships are kind of the point in which you have to really cut with the sword of your decision, and then you have to say to yourself, I'm getting tired. And probably you're going to be pissed off, a little bit sad, disappointed, but it's part of life and part of that process. In order for you to recognize who are your closest, you have to stop reaching out and texting always first. Because if it has been a pattern for you in which you're just texting and always responding a bit too late, now you're probably going to write in the comments obligations, but listen, man, there are always like billion plus people with the obligations themselves. In those billions and billions, at least, man, they still have, as I remember watching this one Instagram video, the busiest people respond the fastest. And those who are busy, actually not busy, I can give you like a category of excuses which they're doing. So everybody's on their phone these days, for in the past 15 plus years on their phones, ever since. Keyword for today's video is ever since. And usually they see your message, but they ignore it for whichever reason they have in their own head. They usually tend to forget, which is like a full of shit, but okay. It can happen, but not all the time. So it can happen coincidentally, accidentally, like once, even twice, man. But even after the third time, you have to say, come on, man. There is like a pattern in which when you are responding, now I'm talking to both genders, and you're receiving seen or not even reading the message, there is something called you're not their priority. Now, you're not their priority has been like a main topic among and discussion and the panel and the discourse in between both genders in the past decade or so. It means that you're not their priority, and you probably never will be. Even if tomorrow we are stack as fuck rich with dollars and thick ass Latina bitches in our house and roaming around 5, 6, 67,000 of them, and still they will respond, because I'll give an example. Give me a second. So it means like this. So even if you are stacked as fuck rich and you're based on your role model for richness and being rich as fuck, whatever the fuck, even if you're in a limousine tomorrow and today manifesting, being in a limousine today, it does not guarantee you that they're your people, because they only saw you being reactive and doing stuff, and you being on TV or on social media, in this case Instagram and TikTok, and they saw you being responsive to the other people and you're doing good for yourself, then they're going to remember that you are actually doing something. Because usually when you're not being seen by the people who you actually want to be seen, now we're talking about relationships in general, in friendships, you have to be seen by them in order for them to realize that something is going on. So you don't have to take it personally, you just have to understand that people today are very not in today's world. So I mean, they are in their own worlds in which they think time is forever, of eternity, that it passes by as a snail in a grass. But that's not the fucking case. For them, yeah, sure, by the time they even remember that life is passing by, they're going to say, maybe if you're like 21, so I'll give an example. If you're currently in your mid, early and late 20s, they think that, let's say that you're 22, 23, 24, they think by the time you're 34, they will then respond and remember to go out with you and speak with you. Because once the dialogue itself dies out from the other side, it's time for you to do one of my favorite tropes of my YouTube channel, Blade Runner 2147, move on. And trust me, it's the same rule, unfortunate rule, but it's the same rule. They will respond when they see you succeeding, and that has always been the case. Usually 90% of them, they're going to be in your DMs and bother the fuck out of you, and you're going to see the difference for yourself when you start making all the changes and the moves and cleaning of the house and the bedroom, as Jovan Petrovic says. Jordan Peterson, you already know who it is. When you start doing those changes and everything starts coming in your favor, in your abundance and success, only then they're going to appear from their Egyptian tombs of vanity and they're going to ask you out. But even, let's say in that scenario, they ask you out, but let me ask you this. Are you severely fucking interested to listen their same old stories and same old social dynamics of them hanging out with other people, that you have to listen to their bullshit? Will you still be interested to listen to them saying, hey, if it's, as I mentioned just a couple of minutes ago, I'm talking to two genders because there are two genders only. Fuck you, liberals. Are you really interested in listening the same discourse of their world, perception, narrow-mindedness, in which you're going to say, gee, golly gee, I'm really fucking interested to listen, you going back to some carol or to some band, even though they ghosted you and saying you like 10,000 plus times, oh my god, that must be severely interesting. No, you're probably you're going to be in a different mindset, in a different approach when you grow as a person. Now I'm talking about this, that when you grow, you go up but they stay down, and they're going to stay in that same circle, in the same, god, I hate this fucking thing, get the fuck, sorry. The point is, now you have to be like a bigger man, but only in this case because it's for your mental health. Not too many people are even talking about mental health issues. They are talking about you have to be better for yourself, in which you have to move on and do stuff and move around and figure out life. By the time you actually start moving stuff, you're going to move yourself and your spirit and your vibe, and you will feel like the mountains are moving and you're making a progress. Then people are going to hear from you. But here is the bad news. I'm not gonna say tragic. That's a bit of a, bullshitting you across the screen that I'm talking to you. You're going to feel different, and you probably won't be interested in to hear those replies. A lot of societies themselves, as I'm making this video, running on that fucking social script, in which they're just going to ask you the same questions over and over and over, and it's the same thing every single time, and it doesn't get any better than that. And then you have to step the fuck away from that society, remember how it was beautiful, trust me, remember it as it was beautiful at its peak, and then you go away. Because that's the best approach that you can have for yourself, because sometimes in life it doesn't matter how old you are. You still have to cut those ties and just fucking forget. And I'm talking to the youth, because the youth is the root for this civilization. Because you have to see, as people are changing, but still you're not their priority. You will become their priority once you start prioritizing yourself and you start saving your time for people. Because sure, they are going to see you one day, that you're hanging out with a group of people that you haven't even mentioned to them, that you haven't even said to them that you're hanging out with, and they're going to see you and act surprised, because they are very let me give you the bad guy news. They're very aware of where we are and who you are, but for some reason, X, Y, and Z, for whichever schizophrenia is running in their fucking mind, they're not interested in investing that time with you. Give me a second, sorry. In it, you're going to see that they were there only because the friendship is not based The friendship itself is not based. If there is friendship only when it's sunshines and rainbows and unicorns and cats. Even though I love cats, I'm a cat person. But still, friendship is not just going out and eating like hogs on a picnic day, or just talking about some good old times. And especially my advice to you is always to avoid people who talk about the past. You know why? Because the past is not even past. It's not even dead, as William Faulkner, one of the greats, said one time. It's important for you not to talk about the past, because this past is already, for me, the past. Because I already just spoke about it 2-3 seconds ago. Snap, and it's no longer here. You have to be in the flow of current time. Now, I know it's going to piss you off if you see people you care about. Key phrase. You care about, and they are not in this perception of time. They're not here, they're somewhere. And usually they always love to say, oh my god, I forgot something, and they're just swayed on their mind, which is like a fucking bullshit. The point of this thumbnail video is for you to realize that you have to eventually step away. You may return someday. Someday is fine, as Daniel Day-Lewis says in Gangs of New York. Someday is indeed really fine, but you have to see that fine is not going to be the same when you get back to the table that you're sitting in a coffee shop with them, or coffee bar, restaurant, pizza restaurant, coffee shop, pizza restaurant, whatever the fuck. It's not the same, and it probably never will be, because by the time you grow as a person, you be a successful one, you will see the change around you. Unwillingly, you're going to see how the masks of this world are shattering and falling down, and you're going to see this entire pretentiousness, this entire fake ass bravado faggot shit so many times that you wish you want to remain alone and not gather new friends. It can be a trap. It's good for some time, relatively, but not too long in between. And then you have to find something that, you know, the friends and the people, the persons that move you and inspire you to be a better person. Because if you still have the persons who just, you know, show up when it's convenient for them, that's the type of people you have to fucking remove from equation. Because wasting fucking time with those cocksuckers when it's convenient for them, it's just gonna give you and dry away the energy that you have. And it's not good, because you need a certain amount of time before you can recharge that energy. The energetic vampires are in so many forms or shapes. Because a vampire can be somebody who drains away with their worries, with their problems, with the same exact bitching and moaning that they have going in their lives, and haven't done a single fucking clue to actually do something about it. Now that's the problem that you have to move away from, because problems of the people are not your problem. If your close friend does something else, but if they are not, if they're outside of your social circle, the close one, it's not your problem, man. Listen, I know you're currently somebody's listening who is a people pleaser and who is an empath, but listen, my nigga, it's not about them. They're not your problem. So they're going to reset each other every single time they go away from the conversation with you. You have to work on yourself. And by the time a next meeting or interaction passes by, you have to see and test for yourself. You're going to test to see if they have changed or not. If they not, now you have to move on. You can tell them, trust me, when you start getting, you know, momentum and moving and going and stuff, you can say, listen man, I don't think this is actually working out. I think we should like stop seeing each other, because, you know, trust me man, as much as it pisses you off to dwell off on the past and be nostalgic, because nostalgia sorry, is a hell of a drug. But still, it's better for you to cut it before it gets any corrosive or any that roots in the grass, because moving away is just another way for you to become bigger and better. So that's the point. Those old acquaintances, because usually people have been confusing a lot in this century the terms of pals, friendships, and acquaintances. Acquaintance is somebody from your elementary, high school, university, job, former job, current job, new job, any sort of. Acquaintance is somebody who knows your government name and just a few information about you. when were you born, stuff, bullshit, retarded stuff like that. So yeah, acquaintances are at the bottom of the mountain, and they don't count because they're just like a background noise. In order for them, listen closely, shut the fuck up, listen closely. In order for them to become something more important for you, they have to work on it, not you. They have to work on it. They have to reach out. They have to extend a hand. It's not always for you spending your fucking life if you're in your mid-20s and you have to extend hands every single fucking time. It's not the case. Sometimes they have to do it. Now we go to buddies. Now buddies can be like a leverage up, like a step up. Okay, better than acquaintance. A buddy who you can go out with on a beer, on some football, and talk about how, Mourinho's team from Inter 2010 was the best, and blah blah blah, and just enjoy with them. You're having fun with them. But the point is that, but the friend is the only peak of the mountain. By the time they get to a friend, oh man, that takes a lot. For you to understand that being a friend, it's a really sacred thing to do in today's time, because people don't take it seriously anymore. Especially they throw away the terms in which they call somebody a friend. You have to be very careful about that word and prevent and protect yourself from somebody who's claiming that somebody else is your friend based on their perception that's full of shit. Because somebody or anybody or someone irrelevant in your life cannot be the lawyer for you in order for them to tell you or suggest that you are somebody's friend just because they know you. No, they don't, man. They only know what they've heard about. It's not the same as somebody knowing you. That's the fundamental difference in which in which you have to figure out the best way for you to become the best version of yourself. Now, as I mentioned, you cannot listen to the people's advice if somebody's telling to you that they are your friend and they have always been in the distance or whatever the fuck. You have to give them a clear definition. Listen, a friend is a completely different category from what you perceive as a friend. It can be friend to you. Just because we know each other, it's not the qualifier, it's not the final judgment, it's not the triput meri jednom seci decision. It's, you need to be listen Bucky. In order for somebody to be your friend, they have to be close with you and they have to be around you before they can actually create a concept of they knowing you. Because I can create an opinion for Austin Butler on some videos that I've seen of him in some movies from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood by Tarantino, whatever the fuck. And I can say, well, Austin Butler, he's a really interesting cocksucker, man. I think he's a piece of shit. And that's everything based on just because I saw him a couple of times and on the train and saying, act goofy, act stupid, which I completely support. But I can go about Austin Butler in so many ways. I can call him, he's a scumbag, he's an asshole. But that's my false perception because I don't know him, I haven't spoken to him. And people can develop that resentment based on the video or some video that they heard him speak. And maybe you were in a bad mood and you kind of thought, maybe, this son of a bitch, that Austin Butler, that fucking piece of shit. You see, the resentment is already boiling in so many levels and layers because you don't know that person. It's the same for you. Now imagine that if you were Austin Butler and somebody you don't know, you've never even heard of somebody existing in your realm, in your circle, and they say the exact same thing for you I just mentioned for Austin Butler just a couple of moments and minutes ago. Think about it. Perception. Now, don't let anybody in your fucking life, anybody, tell you you are somebody's friend just because they told you so. That's not the case. It's incorrect. Because nobody can be your friend if they have not spent time with you. If a person does not spend time with you or even doesn't even make a fucking effort for them to make a time with you, then I'm afraid they are not your friend, they're just acquaintance. And that's it. That's the level 1. Level 2 is buddies and whichever you consider, but friend, it's at the Mount Everest of being a friend. Being a friend is somebody who you can call to and bitch and moan about something. and they won't be bored of you, which is like a very shades of boredom and being like a malevolent person and really annoying. People need to recognize and filter you, because not everybody can stand your persistence or something, the way you're speaking to somebody. But you have to make a distinction when somebody says to you, XY is your friend, even though you and XY have not even spent a millisecond alone, one-on-one, for you to determine if they can be your friend or not. That's a common ass faggot bullshit I fucking detest and have been detesting for a decade or plus. Because nobody can claim that they are your friend unless you know it yourself. So you have to step the fuck away once you see that one-sided friendships and love are coming to halt because you stopped reaching out. Thank you for coming to this channel. Blade Runner 2147, Mr. Stefan Heller, the cat. Christ is king, become straight edge, fuck the government, fuck the Red Star, and remember, in Heller Veritas.